Jews all over the world are preparing and looking forward to the wonderful Yom Tif of Pesach, where we will get another appreciation of Hashem's existence and how much He loves us and takes care of us. There's an interesting passage in the Haggadah when we speak about Marror, the bitter herbs, how this represents how hard the Jews worked in Egypt. And there's so many things to talk about over Pesach, but I'd like to focus on why are we remembering the hard work? And if we are, we should be remembering it before the Seder. First act out the hard work. Maybe that's what we do the weeks coming up to Pesach, working so hard. But in the middle of the Seder, we speak about it, and then we eat the matzah, and then once again, we eat the bitter herbs, which supposedly we're supposed to think about how hard the Jews worked in Egypt. But that's strange because we're in the middle of the Seder night and the kingship, and everyone's on a high level with nice clothes and beautiful china, and suddenly we have to remind ourselves about the bitter times. There's another interesting aspect of the bitter herbs that we know we dip it into the Charoset. Now that's not just for a better taste, but the halacha actually says you must dip it into that sweet dish, and if you do not dip it into the Charoset, you're not yotze, the marrow, the bitter herbs. So what's the idea behind eating the bitter herbs and talking about it in the Haggadah that the Jews worked very hard in Egypt? You see, when God sent us down to Egypt, He promised our forefather Abraham that we will be there for 400 years. Yet we know we were only there for 210 years. How come? Hashem said 400. How come we were only there for 210? And the answer is, Midrash teaches us that they worked so hard, are equivalent to 400 years' work. So that means that they should have been there another 190 years. The reason they weren't there so long is because they worked extra hard, which means the hard work was really a favor for them. The fact that they worked so hard in Egypt helped them get out 190 years earlier. It was slashed almost in half. And the message of the Marror is not just to remember the bitter times, but the message of the Marror is, we say in the Haggadah, do you remember how hard we worked in Egypt? You know why? Because we were supposed to be there for 40 years, and Hashem said, it won't be actual 400 years. And Hashem said, it won't be actually 400 years. It'll be the amount of work which you would have put in 400 years. Which again, the hard work just proves how much Hashem loves us. So He made sure we work harder so we shall leave half the time earlier, 190 years earlier. We take the marrow, the bitter herbs, at the Seder, we dip it into the Charoset, so we make it sweet. And we say, Hashem, I know that all the hardships and all the bitterness in life are really for our favor. And that's something we should have in mind, that we should really pray to Hashem while we're eating this marrow. Please Hashem, help me understand that all the hardships, all the bitterness, all the sufferings in the world is really sweet gift from you. We don't recognize it. If we would recognize it, we'd be so much happier and calmer. I wish you all a wonderful, happy, and kosher Passover, and we should all get this wonderful message that Hashem is there for us all time, all day, and no matter what happens to us, it's all gifts from Hashem. Thank you, and a freilichem Pesach.